What if everything you believed about your belief was wrong? What if, at the moment between life and death, you saw something that changed everything? This is exactly what happened to Aisha, a devoted Muslim woman who had everything from faith to family. But when she fell into a coma and crossed the line of death, she saw someone she never expected. Amina's life was full of joy and faith. She was born into a devout Muslim family in the Middle East. For her and her family, religion was not a mere practice, it was something that they lived for. She grew up in a loving and warm household, where there were strong values and a deep sense of devotion. Her father taught her the importance of integrity, while her mother showed her what it meant to love and serve others. She had siblings who adored her. As the eldest daughter, she was a role model who helped with their studies, playing with them after school, and guiding them in prayer. Their home was always filled with laughter, the smell of home-cooked meals and family conversations. Faith was the core of Amina's world. From a young age, she was taught to pray 5 times a day, recite the Quran, and uphold the principles of Islam with love and devotion. She loved attending madrasa, which is the Islamic school, where she studied the Quran and learned about the life of the Prophet Muhammad. She never doubted her faith. She never questioned what she had been taught. To her, Islam was the truth. Her family was her strength, and her future was bright. But then everything changed. A sudden illness took everything she knew and turned it upside down, and it finally led her to a truth that would shake her very soul. It started with a headache, just a small discomfort that she thought would go away with rest, but as the days passed, the pain only got worse. Soon, she found it difficult to concentrate on her studies or go to the madrasa. The sharp, pinching pain in her head became unbearable, and dizziness slowly took over her body. It didn't take much time for her body to get weak. Soon, her body became unresponsive, and Aisha slipped into a coma. Days turned into weeks. Her parents sat by her bedside, reciting verses from the Quran, begging Allah for a miracle. Her mother whispered prayers through her tears, and no one knew if she would ever wake up to her life. One evening, her breathing became slow and stopped. Her family gathered around her bed, holding her hands and praying. Her mom cried, asking Allah to help her daughter, scared and unsure of what was happening. Suddenly, Amina felt weightless. The pain, the sickness, the weakness, all of it was gone. She opened her eyes and found herself standing in a place that was nothing like she had ever seen. There only light, and it wasn't just any light. It was warm, embracing, alive, which made her feel that he went to heaven. She wasn't afraid, but felt an immense sense of peace, a kind of love so deep that it filled every part of her soul and body. And that is when she noticed something. In the distance, a figure appeared. It was unlike anything she had ever seen before. A radiant presence, full of power and love, moving toward her. She focused on the figure, trying to make sense of what she was seeing, and then she heard it. A voice, strong yet gentle, powerful yet filled with love. Amina. Her heart started to beat fast. She had never heard this voice before, yet it felt as if it had always known her. She could see him now. He had eyes full of kindness, a face that radiated warmth, and a presence that was filled with love. She knew who he was. It was Jesus. Amina had never believed in Jesus as the Son of God. In Islam, Jesus, known as Isa, was considered a prophet, not the Savior. She had been taught that he was important, but not divine. The only power she believed in was Allah. But as she was standing in front of him, she knew this was no ordinary man. She couldn't move or speak. She could only listen and listen to him as he spoke. Your love is immeasurable. The truth is before you. Seek it, and you will find the life you were created for. That was the words of his words that struck deep inside her. She started to feel something divine inside her heart. Just like it had begun, it was gone. She opened her eyes with a gasp. Aisha's mother could only feel grateful to get her daughter back. For doctors, it was a medical miracle. But for Aisha, it was a rebirth that shook her at the core. The light, vision, and Jesus were stuck in her mind. She wanted to believe it was just a dream, a side effect of her illness. But deep inside, she knew that it was real. The truth is before you. Seek it. Those words echoed over and over in her mind. She was no longer just a Muslim girl recovering from an illness. She was a seeker who was desperate for answers, terrified of the truth that she saw, and completely unsure of what to do next. When her mother said, "Allah has saved you, my love," she wanted to believe it. But deep down she felt different, because Jesus had spoken to her and called her by name. She read stories of people who had seen similar visions, people who had felt the same love, the same pull towards something beyond what they had always known. The more she read, the more something inside her awakened, but she was terrified, because she was raised in a deeply faithful Muslim home, and for them, Islam wasn't just a religion, it was their identity. One evening, she gathered the courage to ask her mother a question about what we believe about Christians. Her mother looked at her surprised and answered that Islam is the complete truth. That is when Aisha felt like she was living two lives. During the day, she was the daughter her family knew, the obedient, faithful girl who prayed 5 times a day alongside them. At night, she was a seeker who was searching, learning, and questioning her faith and the truth about Christianity. She wasn't just questioning her faith, she was questioning who she was. That went on for days and months when finally the moment came. One night, as her family sat together after dinner, she took a deep breath. Her hands were shaking and her heart was pounding, but she had no choice but to speak. She told them everything: the vision, the light, the voice, and the cross. She had no idea what the future held, but she knew that she could no longer ignore the voice calling forward. That was the truth that she was seeking. Aisha took the first step on a journey she knew would be difficult. Her journey was just beginning to His love and guidance. Amina's decision to follow Christ was not without consequences. She was ignored by her own family and community, where she lost her social standing and a sense of being. Despite the challenges, Amina found support within the global Christian community. Some churches and organizations offer assistance to converts from Islam, while spiritual guidance, support, and resources to find their new faith journey. This is the story of many who have transitioned from Islam to Christianity. The internal conflict between one's innate belief and what one seeks can take a huge leap at times. This struggle is not merely theological, but deeply personal, which affects relationships and even their sense of identity. But those are the testament to the power of God who can make people believe in divinity. It serves as a reminder to find our spiritual journey, because Jesus and His love for the believers are waiting for you. Conversion is never easy. It's not just changing one's beliefs, but leaving behind everything they ever knew. For those who walk away from Islam to follow Christ, the journey will be filled with pain and rejection. But the peace that you will get at the end will make all those struggles worth it. Because when you've encountered the truth, you can never be the same again. There will be people to question your choice, while some will choose to support you. But one thing is certain: once you've met Jesus, then there is no turning back. But are you ready to risk it all for the truth? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content about the Bible and Christian history.